What's good? Peace and love, all my people of the internet. Yo, what's good? My name is Tone, Anthony, whatever you want to call me. And I'm back doing content full time. It's crazy. But before we get in, I'm going to talk about those stories and those reasons why later. I want to get right into what you're here for, which is Bucks basketball. So, I'm going to be honest with you. I've been pretty upset. I've been pretty irritated with a lot of the chatter. There's been a lot of chatter, a lot of chit chat about the Bucks. We're too old. We're cooked. The Dame trade was stupid. We gave the Celtics the title. Blah 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 blah. I'm tired. ASMR. I'm tired. Nah, but for real, I'm excited for the season. And honestly, there aren't enough people talking about the Bucks, and when they are, they're not being as entertaining as I believe I am. So here we are. I'm the Bucks fanatic. I am ready to talk with y'all about all things Bucks this season. I'm gonna try to watch most of the games. I'm going through a lot of life changes, so getting to watching all the games might be difficult at times. But as many of the games I can watch, I will, and I will talk about them, break them down. I'm not a basketball expert, but I'm a big fan, and I try to learn about the game as much as I possibly can. So if there's things I could learn better, or there's things you want me to talk about, let me know in the comments. Like and subscribe to all that stuff. But yeah, let's get into it. So, the first thing I want to talk about is, we talked about last season with Dame Lillard, right? And Dame Lillard had a good but not great all-time season, right? And I think that's the burden of expectations. The thing that gave me hope last season as a fan was the Kyrie and Luka connection. Just in the sense of just them. Their first year was a little rocky. Didn't make the playoffs. I think they had a lot of injuries on the team that season, but a lot of the pieces didn't really fit, right? So it was kind of awkward, kind of clunky. It happened in the middle of the season. Kyrie had left the Nets. And so the next year they're in the finals, right? And I don't want to call it a fluke, but matchups are very important in the NBA. And so I think the Wolves would have been the best challenger. Either the Wolves or the Nuggets would have been the best challengers for the Celtics. And so because the matchups were so lopsided against what the Mavs do well, they didn't look as good. So I don't think it's like a fluke in the sense that they didn't deserve to be in the finals. I think that they exploited Minnesota very well in the fact that Minnesota was not a great offensive team, even with Cat and Ant, but they were able to use their style of ISO basketball to exploit Rudy Gobert, exploit the Wolves defense and go on a run, and they weren't able to score. So, all that being said, we're back to the Bucks. I think Dame will have a similar resurgence, and we saw that last night. I mean, Dame looked amazing last night, and I'm a homer, but if he didn't look great, like there were times where I was watching Dame last year, I was like, something's not right. This don't look like Dame. And I think, the discomfort was one. Adrian Griffin was not ready to be the head coach of that specific team. I don't really know if he was a good or bad coach he wasn't a good coach for us. I don't know if he'll never be a good coach, but he wasn't a good coach for us and where we were at. I think making that change right before the season was bad timing. I think the Haslams just have a little bit of stink on them, you know what I'm saying? So I hope the stink stays with the Browns and that we good over here. But shout out to my Cleveland fans. But no, I think so Dame just wasn't really accustomed to the team, to the environment, to being away from his kids, to the divorce, to not being able to work out over the summer. So he looks a lot trimmer. He looks a lot quicker. He was doing a lot of great things in terms of like passing the ball. I mean, he scored well. He was shooting I love how Dame gets into like jumpers, because he really jumped. Like I was watching a video breakdown and they're talking about how like Dame, how he elevates when he shoots, right? So like he just gets up in the air and like elevates, and like you saw that on a couple of like some of those high screen plays with Brook Lopez where like Brook would come up on a high screen when he was being guarded by like Caleb Martin, or like I think Kelly Oubre was on him sometimes, but like just that elevation, he would get off the screen, and he's 34, which like everybody's like Dame is old, Dame's like cooked, he's washed, like, and it's like nah, like to be looking like that at 34, that gives me good signs of that Dame is still in his prime and still has some good years left. Kind of like where Steph was a few years ago, where like even now Steph isn't really slowing down. He just doesn't have the support that he used to have. But Dame has a Giannis, and he's about as good as Steph on their best day. You know what I'm saying? So I feel like there's a lot of potential there. There's a lot of potential with him and Brook Lopez, like I said, in the pick and roll. I'm excited for when Chris Middleton gets back, because then we'll get to see like more pick and roll with Giannis, more pick and roll probably with Chris and Dame, like inverted pick and rolls in terms of like having Dame be a screener. That'd be cool. So I think it was a really great game for him, really what we needed to see. And he's backing up a lot of things he was talking, which is I think is great. And I love Dame. I think I've always wanted him to be on the Bucks. It's been a minute. It wasn't as smooth of a like Drew felt like such a natural fit because he just kind of fit what we were doing, the identity of the team. But now that we've have some time with Doc Rivers, with Dame, and new additions, it seems like, okay, now I feel like Dame is a Buck and it feels natural. So shout out to Dame. Before I keep talking about the Bucks, I just want to talk about the Sixers. It wasn't a great game for the Sixers. Obviously, you don't have PG, you don't have Embiid, and I think that'll be a struggle for them the whole season. But honestly, even though 31 shots, 25 on 31 shots is crazy, but I would have 2 on 16 if they gave me 16 shots. So I'm not talking about him as a player, but I think I really liked what I saw from Maxey. Like, Maxey is what I hope AJ Johnson will be one day, which is just like this dynamic, quick, high percentage 3-point shooting guard, great slasher. I think if AJ Johnson, because I think he has potential, if we can really develop him the way that Maxey developed, then we have a weapon for the future, even beyond Dame and Chris. And so I think that's dope. But back to the Sixers, when you don't have your 2 best players, or, PG might be the 3rd best player on this team. I think it all depends on the night and depends on, Maxey's readiness to be a second option in terms of like a true number 2. I'm going to step up when the 1 is down. I'm going to lead the 3. You know what I'm saying? Like that kind of guy, you're not going to be able to see your best self. I think the Sixers kept it not like competitive, but like closer than it needed to be at times, and I think that's a testament to their effort. Nick Nurse is a pretty good coach, but I just think, when Dame is killing, I haven't even talked about Giannis yet in the video. You really don't have much that you can do except just let, Maxey grow through some of this and kind of, learn to continue to be that number 2, maybe one day number 1 as Embiid gets older, as Paul George ages into a elder role on the team if he stays for the whole 4 years of his contract. That's a learning experience, and that's probably going to be a lot of the nights in this season where Embiid and Paul George, or both of them, are out. So if they can be healthy at the right time, and Maxey is getting these reps and getting this experience and looking like a all NBA player, they're going to be cool. They're going to be a tough out, and I'm not a big Sixers guy. Like I don't believe in the Sixers ever, but I think the Sixers could be a very compelling case to be a dark horse contender this year. Not like, I think they already are considered a contender, but I think, we'll see, because Paul George has had some amazing performances in the playoffs, and Embiid hasn't necessarily proven himself, but he has the capability and talent, and Maxey is just a rising star. I also love Jared McCain, even though he's a little bit of a, like, I don't like him, but I like him kind of thing. But just the way he zips around and just the bounce that he plays with, like his shots, like he's just fun to watch. Like, he's enjoyable to watch. And I think, even though I don't really rock with like the content in terms of like I'm gonna watch some Jared McCain content often, I like that he has his own little TikTok thing, and I think that's cool. So shout out to the Sixers. We got that ass done. Back to the Bucks. Shout out to Brook. 6 blocks, I think, or 5 or 6 blocks in the game. That's fire. He wasn't great like offensively, but he had a great just defensive game. I think he battled well with Drummond. I think Brook is worth it. He looks good. Like, he doesn't look bad. So Brook wants to play to like 40, and he's still getting like 6 blocks a game. That's great. I would love him to shoot more, but I like Tyler Smith. And I like Liam Robbins, I think his name is, or Liam. I think it's like Liam Robbins. But I think those guys have some potential. Speaking of also centers, Bobby played amazing last night. Let me get to the role players. Bobby was dope. Bobby's really giving me 3B, which Chris Middleton is 3A or 3. Sometimes. No, he's 3. He's solid 3. But I saw it last season, and I think as Chris gets older and as we see where his injuries kind of like land, it's gonna be more on Bobby Portis to be that 3rd option. And I don't think Bobby Portis is the player that Chris Middleton is in terms of like his ceiling as a player. But I think that Chris Middleton, in terms of at least what he does scoring wise, 17 and 19, points a game. Bobby can get there. Bobby can get to 17 and 19. He could be a Nas Reed. He already is a Nas Reed type of player, and he just looked great. He was doing some great things defensively. Shout out Pat Connaughton. He was like not great, but he was solid, and he didn't look bad out there. He looked like the Pat Connaughton of old. So maybe that was some injury stuff. Maybe that was a system thing. Maybe that was like all the gentrification, in the city. maybe this is on his mind. Buying up all the property. But no, shout out PC. Who else? AJ Green wasn't great. Torian Prince, fucking like 5 for 6, 6 for 7, like just looking like fucking Big Bob Horry and shit. I know that's not gonna be Torian Prince all season, but he looks like exactly what we need. Also, Gary Trent Jr. was doing great work as a point of attack defender. I really like his fit so far. He has something to prove this year, so we'll see how it goes. That's the first game of the season. Maxey was kind of overmatched in terms of like all the talent on our side, so we'll see when it's a more evenly matched battle. But I like what I saw. Good shot making. Just good defense all around. Stay with Maxey for the most part for what I saw. So that was solid from him. And, DeLon Wright did his thing. So I think we have a good group. I would really like to see our young people, our young guys, or not our young guys, but our some of them are young, but I don't like calling them young guys because I think there are people who they can contribute right now. If you've been in the league 3 years, now it's time to start figuring out how will I put it together. 2 years. Okay. Hey, how do I start building on these experiences? So AJJ, I would love something from him. AJ Johnson, his name AJ Johnson. Anyway, I want him to develop, but I'm not worried about him in terms of like contributing right away. Same with Tyler Smith. I would like to see them develop, but they're still very young, so they have a long like leash in terms of what they'll be to the NBA and stuff like that. AJ Green, I'd love to see more from him. He was in Doc's rotation last year, so seeing more from him is always a good thing. Because wing talent doesn't come cheap. I've been hearing about PJ Tucker as a trade piece. That'd be cool. It just all depends on how PJ wants to play. Like, if he can hit threes, and be a coach on the floor and do that stuff, I think that's a great addition. I really like that for us, but not at like, if it's like AJJ and a second rounder, or Marjan and 2 second rounders, or a second rounder, that's cool with me. If it's like a 3 team deal, that's cool with me. But I would like to see what the market has for like maybe like either a defensive wing or like just a high IQ wing player. Doesn't have to be anybody spectacular. I can't think of anybody right now. All right, so that's that for the Bucks. I guess couple more things. Doc Rivers, I like what I saw offensively from the team. The team looked like there was a lot of ball movement. They were playing with pace. I'm not like an X's and O's guys, but I want to get better at that. But from what I saw, there was a lot of ball movement. There was a lot of some good actions. There was a lot of like, I think what people need to know is that like the Giannis Dame 2-man, it's like more of a dribble, handoff, slips, screen kind of thing, kind of actions. I think it's because you want to keep Giannis moving, right? You want to keep Giannis as a threat to be able to move around, like, which gives Dame more space, because rather than having Giannis sit there and wait for this to set the screen, he's kind of doing a ghost screen action. I think this is what I think. Like, this could be wrong, but like, you have to think of basketball kinetically, right? And so like, you don't want Giannis to just sit there stationary. You want Giannis to be kind of moving, cut into the basket, kind of closing in on it so that shooters have room and stuff like that. So I think that's the intention behind it. I like the Dame Brook 2-man pick and roll game. I think that's like bread and butter for the season, and gonna be an unlocked super weapon, especially in the playoffs. And when you have a strong pick and roll game between a big man and a point guard, so many P's. I feel like I'm gonna have to. You get good opportunities to really get good actions, get people free. You have Giannis able to move. But yeah, I like the ball movement. I want to see Doc in a situation where it's difficult, but I think, somebody said something. I think Richard Jefferson said, like, you have one of the best gamers of all time with one of the clutchest people, and then you have Chris Middleton, who's clutch as fuck. So it's really health, and if they get one more piece, like, I don't think they need one more piece, but you're gonna see at the season like, okay, hey, like maybe Taurean Prince isn't the full-time answer off the bench. Maybe we need somebody else, or like maybe DeLon Wright is cool, but I like it when teams don't need a big tweak, but sometimes that PJ Tucker or that who they get? They got DJJ. No, they didn't get DJJ. Who they got? They got PJ Washington and Daniel Gafford on the Mavs, like, right? And so then they're in the finals. So like those things, are things you want to look for, right? Like, I don't want Grant Williams, but maybe Grant Williams is a missing piece, and by December, not December, but by like January, February, the Hornets are trash. Like, you never know, right? Shout out Charles Lee though. So anyway, I think that's a good transition. I think we're the second best team in the East. I think that's fair. The Knicks have some stuff to prove. The Sixers need to get healthy. The Pacers are still young and they need somebody to either like be like a Spurs, or they need somebody else to either like Mathurin needs to just be like amazing. He was good in his opener. I think he had 19 points, and he hates Jaden Ivey for some reason. But but yeah, so I think the Bucks, the Heat, I don't see much of, and the Magic, I think the Magic could be a tough second round out, but I don't know if they're there yet in terms of actually being like a threat to the Bucks. But they could knock the Bucks out, like the Pacers knocked us out last year. So I'm not on this like, oh, the Bucks is like the best and we can't be beaten. Like, we still have some flaws, but other things. Let's see. Okay, all right. So let's talk about the rest of the league. The Wolves played the Lakers. The Lakers won that. I like what the Lakers are doing offensively. I think they have a really good opportunity, even though I think people kind of clown on JJ Redick and LeBron and Brownie. There's some nepotism involved. Shout out to nepotism for LeBron James. I think he's done a lot for the game, and I think you can look at it a certain way, but if Bronny is a decent player, if Bronny becomes like an all-star one day, which I don't think will happen, but if Bronny even is like a Tim Hardaway Jr. type of player, right, then that's a success, right? And so you've made a pathway for your son, maybe your younger son, to be in a league doing the same thing you got to do. Maybe not as the greatest of all time, but as a decent player in the NBA. And I think that's what LeBron is aiming for. So shout out to them. I really like, from the analysts I've been listening to, but also just seeing it, I really like AD being, LeBron's always going to be your best player, right? Like LeBron, like I know people try to do that whole AD needs to be the best player, but LeBron is always going to be LeBron, right? And so as long as you have somebody that's smart, that athletic, that's experienced, and that commanding of a presence, you're not going to say, oh, Anthony Davis be the leader now, right? But what I've seen from Anthony Davis this last year and this year is just being like, okay, yo, I'm cool with being who I am on this court, right? I'm a defensive menace. I am, able to make shots. I can play make a little bit. And I think JJ Redick unlocking that and really kind of using like, Gobert, Jokic and Giannis to an extent, or like, Embiid, Bam Adebayo, just having him work off the elbow to like initiate offense, having him hitting shots, him running the third quarter without LeBron for like extended periods of time. It's good to have your best players on the floor at the same time, but I think staggering your stars and having them be able to operate in their own offense, especially because LeBron is such a commanding presence in terms of playmaking. If Anthony Davis doesn't have that space, then all Anthony Davis can really do is run his pick and roll, finish, be a finisher, but he has more capability than that, right? Also, we talk about AD disappearing in a game or LeBron having to carry. It's like, no, like AD might not have been being empowered with some of the offense. So I like what I saw. The Wolves did try to make a game of it. They have some stuff to work on. Ant, I think he still has a lot of growth. Like, I think like Ant is a really good player, and I've been a fan of him as a basketball player. But I think some of the things I love about Ant are some of the things that he's gonna have to work on, right? Like, he's gonna have to be able to, just have more like poise in certain moments. He's gonna have to work on his offensive game. And I think playing with Julius Randle, I think Ant playing with Julius Randle will be good for him. So other things around the league, I talked about the Pistons and the Pacers a little bit, but I don't think people really care about that. Shout out to the Hornets for winning their first game. LaMelo Ball might be an all-star this year. I don't think that, not saying that because I don't think he has the potential. I just think the league be the league. So but if they're good, he might be definitely an all-star this year. What else? Fuck Kyle Lowry. I'm just kidding. No. James Harden versus Kevin Durant. The Suns could be real good. Shout out Bud. I think they say he got that Ozempic face. No, but shout out Bud. Bud really was like a dope ass head coach. He got us our chip, so I think the Suns have a chance. I was listening to I was listening to the 520 podcast, and they're talking about how the problem with their big three is they all kind of had the same role, and so you're never gonna really be able to like even with the Nets big three, like KD and Kyrie were both like shooters and scorers, but there's two of them. James Harden was like the playmaker, right? So, but with James Harden being the playmaker, it was easier for them to say, okay, hey, cool, we can be over here, we can do this, we can score, you can operate the offense. With the Suns, that's three scorers, right? That's three people who have been used to being the go-to scorer on their team. And so when you have KD and Book, that's dope. I would have loved, like, if the Suns had figured out how to get Porzingis over there, that would have been a scary ass team. Like, ooh, Porzingis on the Suns? And then they didn't have to trade for Nurkic. Oh, man. That'd have been fire. Because then you just got to get, because you can still get a Royce O'Neal. Yeah, that would have been tough. That'd have been tough. So, yeah, I think, yeah, like, it'll be interesting. It'll be interesting for sure. Other than that, yeah, I think, you know, I'm sure I missed some people. Shout out to the Magic for being the Heat. I think they'll be great this year. I want to break down their team because they got a lot of good, dope young pieces. Shout out Pablo Banchero. Shout out Franz Wagner. Shout out Jalen Suggs. Got that money. Shout out Jalen Green. Getting his money. Getting his 2-1. We'll see what they do these next couple years. Shout out to the Thunder. I think they got a game tonight. So, yeah, the league is back. We lit. I'm also going to be covering Unrivaled, and I got my podcast with my cousin. So, yo, tap in with us. Stay locked in. This is I don't have a name for the show, but it's a YMD Sports Report. I said I don't have a name for the show. It came up with a name. No, but, yeah, appreciate y'all. And, yeah, let me know what y'all want to talk about and what I need to be better at. All right, like and subscribe. Love.